It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations, we cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
There are some big, record-breaking fish being caught around the country this winter. One such fish was reeled in by Stephen Paul out of Melton Hill Reservoir in Knox County, Tennessee. The fish in question was a muskie, a fish not often associated with the volunteer state, but this 51-inch giant will make you think otherwise. The fish was caught last Thursday and weighed 43 pounds, 14 ounces, which beat the previous record, which had stood for 34 years by well over a pound. Another state record wasn't caught, it was shot, and by an angler with a very impressive fishing pedigree. According to the Outdoor Hub, John Paul Morris, the son of Bass Pro Shops founder Johnny Morris, was doing some bow fishing for carp on Missouri's Table Rock Lake when Morris put an arrow into a big mouth buffalo. Think of it as a giant carp, which tipped the official scales at 57 pounds and 13 ounces, which bested the previous record by over 3 pounds. And Brent Gensler, hailing from Roosevelt, Minnesota, reeled in a large, ugly but tasty fish out of the state's famed Lake of the Woods in December that was certified as a record fish this year. The fish in question? Well, some call them eel pout, others burbot, and others describe them as a freshwater lingcod, but either way, the 19-pound, 11-ounce fish caught while ice fishing has been entered into the record books by the state of Minnesota, and Mr. Gensler, as you might imagine, is pretty happy about that. Is there a state record waiting to be caught in a waterway near you? As far as New Year's resolutions go, it's a lot more motivating than losing weight or getting into shape, and let's face it, I bet you gave up on those resolutions weeks ago. So, check out the record books online through your state fish and wildlife agency and get out there. At the very least, you'll have fun trying. Turning to this week's show, we are going to start off by talking to Tom Abraham. I'm a big believer that you can never have enough outdoors radio on the airwaves, and that's why I'm thrilled to talk to Tom about his new gig as the host of Bassmaster Radio. It's a show dedicated to bass fishing, which will also follow the Bassmaster Tournament Trail. It's being distributed by SB Nation and will be heard on 126 of their affiliate stations. We'll talk to Tom not only about the show, but also about some news coming from the Bassmaster Tournament circuit this past week. We'll go from bass fishing in the southeastern United States to spring bear hunting in the coastal mountains of central British Columbia when we chat with Devin Jewell. He's with Pacific Bear Outfitters. He offers spot and stalk hunts that last the better part of the week for some of the biggest black bears you'll ever see. We'll go right back to fishing after that, but we will stay in British Columbia when we connect with Neil Goodwin. He's with Avid Sport Fishing. They operate out of Haida Gwaii, formerly known as the Queen Charlotte Islands, which are located just about 50 miles south of Alaska. There is some pretty darn good fishing to be found here for both big kings and silvers, and they've got a great lodge too. Neil's going to tell you all about it. If you're looking for more ideas about where to go fishing and hunting, you can always come up with some by visiting a sportsman show and checking in with some of the guides and outfitters that exhibit there. It turns out there's going to be a brand new sportsman show taking place in the Pacific Northwest this year. It's called the Monroe Sportsman Show. It's taking place April 7th through the 9th in Western Washington, and Ron Garner with the Snow King chapter of Puget Sound Anglers will fill you in on that. In addition to this, we've got news about what Ryan Zinke, the new Secretary of the Interior from Montana, is up to during his first days in office. We'll also tell you about a hunter who was attacked by a cougar in California, and a chance to win up to $1 million if you can figure out how to keep Asian carp out of the Great Lakes. Oh, and yes, we do have news from Alaska's Iditarod, the legendary sled dog race that is underway as we speak. But before we get into all of this, let's talk about that other radio show that's hitting the airwaves and online this weekend. There's a new outdoors radio show coming on. Actually, it's a fishing show. It's called Bassmaster Radio. It's brand new, and we've got the host of the show with us today, Tom Abraham. Tom, welcome to the show and congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to be on with you.
Well, Tom, Bassmaster Radio is being produced by Bassmaster, those folks who put on all those great tournaments all over the country. And you're going to be on 126 stations around the nation. Tell our listeners more about your new weekend show.
Well, basically, I started out about 12 years ago doing Bass, Buck, and Duck radio. You got to say that slowly, now you can get jammed up. But it was Bass, Buck, and Duck radio in North Alabama. And then when I moved to Nashville, it became Southern Bass Radio, and it was on stations in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Alabama. And when the opportunity presented itself to syndicate it on the SB Nation network, at that point I thought, you know what, I've been a lifetime member of BASS since 1981.
Wow.
Yeah. And I thought, you know, what better way to do this than to turn this into Bassmaster Radio if BASS is interested in it. So I went down there. I met with Bruce Aiken and James Hall and Dave Pratt and all the muckety-mucks at Bassmaster. It was like a trip to the Holy Grail for me. They had the Hall of Fame with all of the Bassmaster Classic champion, you know, photos up in the hallways and things like that. It was really a neat thing to take in. And, you know, we had lunch and pounded out a deal, basically. It took a couple of weeks of back and forth, but we pounded out a deal for them to take the naming rights of the show and make it Bassmaster Radio. And it worked in very nicely because I had a number of anglers coming on the show. We had built up over 10 or 12 years a certain gravitas with the anglers. Mark Zona is a good friend. Tommy Sanders has been on. A lot of those guys. Plus, we were covering the FLW as well, though. And, you know, so we are having a number of those on and so on. And we did some local stuff. But now it's all Bassmaster Radio. We focus on the Elite Series, the Open Series, Bass Nation things, you know, stories that kind of tell the full scope of everything that Bassmaster is doing. And it's been a blessing. We're a couple of weeks into it. We opened it up with Jerry McInnes. It was funny. They actually contacted me and they said, do you think you have any time to get Jerry McInnes on the first show? And I was like, well, I think we can probably find a spot to fit him in.
Oh, yes.
And so we had the legendary Jerry McInnes help kick it off. He'll come on again before the Classic coming up, last weekend in March down in Houston.
Well, you know, you certainly are the right man for the job with the background you have. Again, this is fantastic news. There's never enough outdoors radio out there, folks. And I'm guessing this week, two topics you're going to cover. Number one, the Bassmaster Central Open at Table Rock Lake in Missouri. And number two, the whole college series. Don't you wish they had that when you and I were in college, you know, bass fishing in college?
Yeah, I mean, that would have been tremendous. Mark Zona told me he actually went to a community college in Michigan strictly because it was on the shore of a lake. And he would go fish all day and then ground his boat, run in, take a class, go back, get into his boat, and go fish the rest of the day as well. That's the kind of school I would have been looking for. But so that's really neat, too. And yeah, Mike McClellan is on the show this week, who won at Table Rock, his second win at Table Rock, and he has a second there, too, back in 2000, I think. So he's taken quite a few dollars off of Table Rock in Branson, Missouri.
Oh, absolutely. And again, folks, in terms of the Bassmaster College Series, the Southern Regional just took place, and, well, we'll spill the beans. South Carolina, the Gamecocks won in their own home state there, didn't they?
Yeah, they got the win over there in Winna Bay, and that's been a great series. It's taken off like crazy, and you're seeing so many guys, the Lee brothers who came out of Auburn, that go straight from college fishing into professional fishing. They get degrees in marketing, business, because they know that, you know, being a professional fisherman ultimately is a business, that you need to be able to market yourself to sponsors and so on and so forth. You know, who would have thunk it? You know, it used to be back in the day, people would go work for years and make enough money and kind of break away and go fish some tournaments. And now guys go to college for it, and they never think about anything else other than being professional fishermen. So, I mean, you know, maybe we're born about 30 years too late, maybe.
I agree, Tom. The sport is evolving, that is for sure. We've got to go. But where can folks listen to Bassmaster Radio?
The best way to find it is just to go to Bassmaster.com. It gets posted late Friday night or early Saturday morning, and then this way you can listen on demand. So try and find an SB Nation affiliate near you, and if you don't have one of those, just go to Bassmaster.com and click on the radio show, and you can listen to it on demand.
That's Tom Abraham, the host of Bassmaster Radio, a new show coming to stations near you and online at Bassmaster.com. Tom, thanks for joining us this week on America Outdoors Radio.
I appreciate you having me.
Grays Harbor Unders makes the performance-based layer clothing you want and need, whether you work, hunt, hike, fish, run, or ride in the great outdoors. If you work up a sweat, Grays Harbor Unders are for you because their unique dual-layer fabric removes moisture from your body and keeps your skin dry, even when the outer layer is completely wet. It's a base layer like no other. Get you some at ghunders.com. That's ghunders.com for the best performance-based layer you'll ever wear.
Low-limit saltwater salmon fishing got you down? Don't be sad. Head to the mighty Columbia River and get into the great steelhead and salmon fishing going on this year. Mike Salazar with Salt to Summit Guide Service is the man to go fish with. He's got over 25 years experience and knows how to catch a limit of fish. In fact, he's so confident in your success, he'll guarantee a fish. Book your Columbia River trip now at salttosummit.com. That's salt, then the number 2, then summit.com.
Tillamook Bay is considered the greatest fishing experience on the west coast for fall Chinook salmon and winter steelhead, and Dungeness crab is plentiful. 5 major rivers connect with the ocean on the Tillamook coast. It's not unusual to snag a 40 to 50 pounder. Go out in a boat or stand on a riverbank or dock. Try fishing from a dory boat and experience the thrill of a beach launch and landing. Use spinners, sand shrimp, or salmon eggs to lure them. The fish will line up to grab your bait. Go to tillamookcoast.com/fishing to find guides and places to stay.
Planning your next hunting trip in Oregon or Washington? Our Rams Game Management Unit maps show you the big picture on where you're going, as well as the topography and road trail information to help you get there. And they've got public land information, Game Management Unit boundaries, and UTM information for GPS users to keep you out of trouble. Rams Game Management Unit maps are a great planning tool for safe and successful hunts. Look for Rams maps at your local sporting goods store, or see our entire line of maps on the web at bigskymaps.com.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz, and this segment is brought to you by the Alaska Sporting Journal. It is the monthly magazine that covers not just fishing and hunting, but everything to do with the outdoors and adventure in the great state of Alaska. Look for a copy at a newsstand near you. Next up, we're not in Alaska, but we are kind of close. We're in British Columbia, and we're going to be talking about bear hunting with Devin Jewell of Pacific Bear Outfitters. Devin, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
It's going really well. Devin, Pacific Bear Outfitters, specializes in trophy black bear hunts. Let's start off with exactly where you're located and how do folks get there?
So we're located about 4 hours north of Vancouver, British Columbia, in the center of the Coast Mountain Range. So the two methods people who come on hunts with us use is they either drive up to a small town on the edge of our hunting concession, and we meet them there and take them into camp. Or in a lot of cases, people fly into Vancouver International and then spend the night in a hotel, and we meet them in the morning and take them into camp from there.
All right. What is the small town that people are driving to?
It's called Lillooet, British Columbia.
Gotcha. Okay. So once you get to your concession, you're going to be in some, well, fairly primitive accommodations. I guess it's going to remind most of our hunters of like an elk camp or a deer camp. Tell our listeners about that.
So we use canvas wall tents on raised wood platforms. So you have a wood floor under you, which is quite a bit nicer.
Yes.
We have wood bunks in each tent as well as a wood heater. We have an on-demand propane hot showering camp. So they're a little rustic, but some people quite enjoy that. So it's pretty comfortable. You're never wet or cold or anything like that. So.
No, it sounds good to me. And let's talk about food. I'm guessing you got to have at least a little bear sausage there just to motivate folks to get their own brewing.
Yeah, we serve a little bit of bear meat, usually in sausage form. But besides that, we stick to pies, donuts, fried chicken. We have a cook-in camp. So you're not usually hungry for too long.
It sounds that way, and I suspect you're going to be working up an appetite, too. How long are these hunts? Are these 6-day hunts, 7-day hunts?
So they're 7 days. We pick you up that morning, and we're hunting that evening.
Nice.
And then we drop you off the morning of the 7th day. So we get in 7 evenings of hunting, which is when you really come in contact with the big male bears.
Sure. And something else I want to talk about here is the method you're going about hunting these bears. There's basically 2 methods that folks are familiar with. Number 1 is hunting over bait. The other method, which I personally think is a little more challenging and a little bit more of a fair chase issue, is spot and stalk hunting for bears. And I understand that's what you do.
Yeah, so in the province of British Columbia, baiting of bears is illegal, so we hunt using spot and stalk. We also do a bit of calling as well for them, but generally it's spot and stalk. So we spend a lot of time getting up into a position where we can use our binoculars and check avalanche chutes, old cut block areas, old roadways, flood deltas, and river deltas as well. And the bears will be out feeding in those areas. So once we spot them with binoculars, we figure out if it's a bear worth going after or not. And then if it is, we just use the wind and terrain to our advantage to close the distance on them.
I'm guessing that even with that, and even though you're an experienced guide, it's still not a sure thing from the time you see a bear to actually stalking it and getting a shot. There's a lot of busted stalks out there for hunters, aren't there?
Yeah, you might stalk a couple bears before you make a kill, but we do see a lot of bears too, so it keeps it exciting. Like archers have a good time because just the amount of potential stalks keeps everybody really, interested. So it's really good that way. I mean, it's weather dependent how many you'll see in a day, but 2 or 3 is a slow day, with kind of 20 being a really good day. So
oh my gosh,
see a lot of animals.
That is amazing because I have a lot of friends who are bear hunters and they're thrilled if they see 1 to 2 a day. So to see up to 20 bears in a single day of hunting, that is truly incredible. Folks, we're talking to Devin Jewell. He is the owner of Pacific Bear Outfitters out of central British Columbia. And you touched on something there that was very interesting to me. Again, we were talking about different methods to hunt bear. Spot and stalk is the main way you go, but calling in bears, I'm not familiar with this tactic. Tell me how this is working out and how successful this can be.
So if you get inside an area and you notice there's a lot of, like a big male bear has been utilizing the area quite a bit, you can, if it's not a place potentially where you're going to have an opportunity to spot him, maybe he's in a thicker cover, dense forest, you can try like a predator culture, like a fawn in distress. We have a lot of black-tailed deer in the area, so that wailing distress noise will bring in a bear, and you got to be, the opportunities usually happen a little faster, so you really got to be on your toes. But when it does happen, it can get pretty exciting. So we probably successfully maybe call in 1 bear a year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but we only take probably 12 to 14 bears a year. So
that sounds really, really exciting. And I'm guessing not just for rifle hunters, that would be really exciting for archery hunters too.
Oh yeah, it's pretty exciting for everybody, from the the guide or the hunter. It gets the adrenaline going for sure.
Oh, absolutely. So here's another question for you. Most of your clients, are they experienced bear hunters, or are a good portion of them hunting bears for the first time?
I would say it's probably 50-50. We do a lot of like father-son youth almost, so we actually have a youth special. So if you're a parent and you want to bring your daughter or son hunting, or if you're a grandfather and you want to bring your grandson or granddaughter hunting, if you book a hunt with us, we basically let them come up and hunt free if they're below the age of 16 and older than 10. So we take a lot of hunts like that, so it's kind of 50-50. You have a new hunter and a seasoned hunter. And then we take a lot of people who have hunted bear over bait and are coming to try it spot and stalk.
Very interesting. One last question. Again, you do specialize in hunting big black bears. Why are your bears so big? Is it just the location they're at, that maybe they don't get a lot of pressure and they've got really good food sources, or what?
So when you're talking about bears on the coast, the west coast especially, see a lot more rainfall. So the vegetation has quite a higher protein content. You also have salmon streams. So we have a lot of salmon streams in our area. We have a lot of rainfall in our area. So the abundancy of food is incredible for a bear. And also, because you're on the coast, we get a longer growing season for the bears. So our bears are waking up and moving around the beginning of April, and they might stay up moving around till into December in some cases. So they're just doing more growing in a year. So they just become bigger because of that.
Last but not least, what is your hunting season, especially for the spring bear hunting season, and how can folks book a trip with you?
So you can reach us at PacificBearOutfitters.com. And our spring season is we take hunters starting essentially May 1st to June 15th. And we really, because we only take about 14 hunters a year, they're pretty customized hunts. So if you talk to us ahead of time and you have special requirements or you just want to come up with something special, we really cater to that just because we're a smaller type outfit. So you can reach us at hunts@Pacific Bear Outfitters. That's our email address, and or hit us on the web at PacificBearOutfitters.com.
All right. Well, it sounds like an incredible hunting adventure that you can have in central British Columbia. The website, again, PacificBearOutfitters.com. That's PacificBearOutfitters.com for trophy black bear hunting in Canada. Devin, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Be sure to attend the Monroe Sportsman Show April 7th through the 9th at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds, with tons of vendors offering big discounts, a lineup of expert speakers, and a stock trout pond for the kids. This show will be fun for the whole family. Admission is only $6 and kids under 12 are free. So be sure to attend the Monroe Sportsman Show, presented by Puget Sound Anglers Snow King Chapter and sponsored by Three Rivers Marine with support from the TPA Fund of Snohomish County. Find out more at monroesportsmanshow.com.
Remember those fantastic Penn manual downriggers? Do you wish you still had one? Guess what? You can. Chris Costantino from Trollmaster explains.
The reincarnation of the iconic Fathom Master line, where we reinvented the downrigger, and it's exactly the same as it was. All the parts are interchangeable, so if you have an older Penn Fathom Master downrigger and you need parts, we actually have the parts for it because they're exactly the same.
Order your downrigger at troll-master.com. That's troll-master.com. Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Northwest Sportsman Magazine. It is the fantastic publication that covers fishing and hunting throughout the Pacific Northwest, to include British Columbia, which is our next stop. We are heading up to Haida Gwaii, formerly known as the Queen Charlotte Islands. That's where you're going to find avid sport fishing, and the owner of that outfit is Neil Goodwin, who joins us now. Neil, welcome to the show.
Hi, John.
So the Queen Charlottes, or Haida Gwaii as it's known now, pretty darn close to Alaska. You are way up there in BC, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. The island archipelago itself is made up of over 150 islands, and the north end lies 50 miles south of the Alaska Panhandle and about 70 miles west of mainland British Columbia. So we're about as far out there as you can get.
So, okay. Neil, first things first, when it comes to the lodge, you're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from the airport where folks are going to land from Vancouver, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right, John. We're only about 10 minutes from Sandspit Airport, which is the main airport in Haida Gwaii. And it's a very remote, even though it is close to town, it's a very remote location. We have our own piece of property, no neighbors at all, and a great beach out front, our own private. And the lodge itself has been around for 40 years, actually has quite a bit of history. Was run originally by a couple who ran it as a fly fishing lodge, and has even had the likes of Jimmy Carter and Bob Hope have even stayed there. So a little bit of history to go along with it as well.
Well, it looks like a beautiful lodge. I see that it'll take up to 8 people, and if your group, folks, is 6 or more, you get the whole lodge to yourself. In addition to a great place to stay, right on the beach, close to the airport, and close to town in case you want to go explore the village there. You are going to enjoy some great food, a comfortable night's sleep, and lots to do in the lodge itself. But the main reason folks are coming there isn't for a stay in the lodge. They're there for the fishing. Tell our listeners about the fishing.
Well, it's well known that Queen Charlotte Islands has some fantastic fishing, if not the best fishing in all of British Columbia when it comes to king salmon and halibut. Just our geographic location, protruding out into the Pacific and lying right on the edge of the continental shelf, we pose as an obstacle to all runs of salmon. All 5 species of salmon have to pass by our front door to get to their rivers.
When I think of Haida Gwaii or the Queen Charlotte Islands, I always think of 2 things: big kings, big silvers. Are they really bigger up there than they are further down the coast?
I wouldn't say that they're necessarily bigger than they are further down the coast. There's just more of them. And your chances are better of catching a bigger fish up here than they are down south.
Well, that makes perfect sense. And how are you going about catching them? Are you using downriggers? Are you motor mooching? What are you doing to get your fish in the boat?
We actually do a little bit of everything, and it really all depends on how our guests like to fish as well. We're pretty diverse. If the situation looks like it's good for motor mooching, then we'll do that. If it's a windier day and we think we can catch more fish with downriggers, then we'll go with downriggers. But we're pretty versatile, and even trolling bucktails on the surface for coho can be a lot of fun as well, and something that we do in the later part of the season.
That sounds like an absolute hoot. We are running short on time, but folks, if you want to experience some great fishing, check out avidsportfishing.com. Whether you're after big kings or big coho or maybe some halibut and some bottomfish too, Queen Charlotte Islands, now known as Haida Gwaii, would be a great destination, and Avid Sport Fishing with a lodge right on its own private beach makes it even better. Find out more at avidsportfishing.com. That's avidsportfishing.com. Neil, thanks for telling us all about it.
Thank you, John.
Next on America Outdoors Radio, we've got a brand new sportsman show to tell you about. It's taking place in Monroe. That's located in Western Washington, which actually, well, about a decade ago had a pretty successful sportsman show, but it went away. So it's nice to see this coming back with a new sponsor. With us here to tell us more about it is Ron Garner with Puget Sound Anglers. Ron, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us on today. This is great. And I'd like to just say that we missed this show just about as much as anybody. This show turned out to be an excellent show, the Monroe Sportsman Show, and we missed it. And sitting around meetings at one time in our Puget Sound Anglers group, we decided, we should bring this show back. We all really missed it, and it was a great show.
It really was, Ron, and there was a lot of folks that went to it. But now that it's back, let's talk about exactly where, for our listeners who weren't familiar with the original one, it's taking place and what the dates are.
Okay, it's going to be April 7th, 8th, and 9th in Monroe at the Evergreen Fairgrounds, same building or same park as it was before. And there's a new building they built since then, a beautiful events building right in the center of the park. And for those coming, you can go to our website, the MonroeSportsmanShow.com, and there's directions. Everything's on there you need to know about the show. There's free parking. You can come on in. We're still putting the show together, but we want to make it bigger and better every year. And we're really looking to push and bring back outdoor recreation. That's really what this is about.
I think it's great. And folks, the ticket price is really low. It's only $6. That's all it takes to get into this show. And let's talk about the why. I understand that a lot of you were thinking, gee, it'd be great to have it back. But this is going to be a fundraiser for the Snow King chapter, the Snohomish County, King County chapter of Puget Sound Anglers. Why do you need this?
Well, we normally are funded. We have the Edmonds Coho Derby, which last year, due to lack of fisheries and decisions that were made, we were not able to have our Edmonds Coho Derby, which funds our club and a lot of the things that we pay to do good things. We actually have hired lobbyists and things like that we actually work to promote sport fishing. We do not put any money in our pockets, and this is probably going to be one of the biggest nonprofit shows there is. And we really want to see people out on the water fishing, and it's been some tough years for the fishing. We're doing our best to start bringing things back. We do a lot of work with legislators, federal legislators. We're doing everything we can to try and bring this back, and I think hunting is just as important as fishing and outdoor recreation, such as kayaking, skiing, everything. But it's important to get everybody outdoors.
I agree with you completely, and yes, your organization is doing some really valuable work, and folks, it does take money. So I hope you'll consider attending and helping fuel the fire that Puget Sound Anglers is making on behalf of all of you sports anglers out there, especially those of you who like fishing in Puget Sound. Let's turn our attention to the vendors and the attractions you're going to have at the show. Some of the reasons people are going to want to come there.
Yeah, we're going to have Three Rivers Marine, who is our main sponsor. We have Master Marine out of Burlington. We have Ed Surplus, that's going to have some booths set up to buy things. West Coast Marine Services. We just had the Wildlife Police just added on. They're going to have their trailer out front, some sort of display, which is going to be really neat. That's WDFW. And we're being sponsored by the Snohomish County Tourism Board. They want to bring back, and they want to see outdoors activities just as bad as we do. As far as vendors, hunting, fishing, kayaking is one that's really picked up.
Sure.
That seems to be a new one, the fishing by kayak. So these are just some of the things we're doing. We're in the process of putting together seminars for people to come and be able to see who's speaking about what. That will be on the website. We have a trout pond for kids out there, a free trout pond for kids. And you mentioned the cheap price. We want to get people in there, $6 per head, free to kids and free to active military.
Oh, this is fantastic. And folks, Ron and I were talking a little bit before we went on the mic here, and they're still looking for exhibitors. So if you are a fishing or hunting guide or somebody who's in the outdoors industry and want to put your business in front of a large group of people at a great venue, consider contacting the Monroe Sportsman Show. We are out of time, but if you want to find out more about this show that's coming April 7th through the 9th at the Evergreen Fairgrounds in Monroe, Washington, go to the website, monroesportsmanshow.com. That's monroesportsmanshow.com. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing you there. Ron, thanks for telling us about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Okay, thank you very much, John, and we'll be talking to you soon.
RCI X-Rail has the high-capacity magazine or accessory you need for your shotgun. Whether you're using it for tactical purposes, competitive shooting, or special hunts, where maximum round counts don't apply, RCI's X-Rail lets you get more rounds downrange faster because you don't have to reload as often. And their performance shop will race up your shotgun by opening the port for fast loading, lightening the trigger, or adding sights and accessories. RCI X-Rail is your shotgun solution because they are the shotgun people. Find out more at xrailbyrci.com.
Be sure to attend the Monroe Sportsman Show April 7th through the 9th at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds, with tons of vendors offering big discounts, a lineup of expert speakers, and a stock trout pond for the kids. This show will be fun for the whole family. Admission is only $6 and kids under 12 are free, so be sure to attend the Monroe Sportsman Show, presented by Puget Sound Anglers Snow King Chapter and sponsored by Three Rivers Marine with support from the TPA Fund of Snohomish County. Find out more at monroesportsmanshow.com.
Low-limit saltwater salmon fishing got you down? Don't be sad. Head to the mighty Columbia River and get into the great steelhead and salmon fishing going on this year. Mike Salazar with Salt to Summit Guide Service is the man to go fish with. He's got over 25 years experience and knows how to catch a limit of fish. In fact, he's so confident in your success, he'll guarantee a fish. Book your Columbia River trip now at salttosummit.com. That's salt, then the number 2, then summit.com.
Planning your next hunting trip in Oregon or Washington? Our Rams Game Management Unit maps show you the big picture on where you're going, as well as the topography and road trail information to help you get there. And they've got public land information, game management unit boundaries, and UTM information for GPS users to keep you out of trouble. Rams Game Management Unit maps are a great planning tool for safe and successful hunts. Look for Rams maps at your local sporting goods store, or see our entire line of maps on the web at bigskymaps.com.
Tillamook Bay is considered the greatest fishing experience on the west coast for fall Chinook salmon and winter steelhead, and Dungeness crab is plentiful. 5 major rivers connect with the ocean on the Tillamook coast. It's not unusual to snag a 40 to 50 pounder. Go out in a boat or stand on a riverbank or dock, try fishing from a dory boat, and experience the thrill of a beach launch and landing. Use spinners, sand shrimp, or salmon eggs to lure them. The fish will line up to grab your bait. Go to tillamookcoast.com/fishing to find guides and places to stay.
Remember those fantastic Penn manual downriggers? Do you wish you still had one? Guess what? You can. Chris Costantino from Trollmaster explains.
The reincarnation of the iconic Fathom Master line, where we reinvented the downrigger, and it's exactly the same as it was. All the parts are interchangeable, so if you have an older Penn Fathom Master downrigger and you need parts, we actually have the parts for it because they're exactly the same.
Order your downrigger at troll-master.com. That's troll-master.com. You're back with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We got some outdoors news for you. This portion of the show is brought to you by the American Shooting Journal. It is the magazine that covers the firearms and shooting sports scene throughout our great nation. Look for it at a newsstand near you. We start off with news about Ryan Zinke. He's the new boss of the Department of Interior, and he's been busy. And what he's been doing is being welcomed by many hunters and anglers. From MSN News, we learned that Interior Secretary Zinke has signed an order overturning a ban on using lead ammunition on wildlife refuges. He signed the order on his first day in office, overturning a policy implemented by former Fish and Wildlife Service Director Dan Ash on January 19th, the Obama administration's last full day in office. Ash's policy banned the use of lead ammunition and fishing tackle on all Fish and Wildlife Service refuges within 5 years that allow hunting or fishing, as well as in all other hunting or fishing regulated by the agency elsewhere. It was meant to help prevent plants and animals from being poisoned by lead left on the ground or in the water. However, Chris Cox with the National Rifle Association says the Obama administration failed to consult with state fish and wildlife agencies or national angling and hunting organizations before issuing this order. This was not a decision based on sound scientific evidence. It was a last-second attack on traditional ammunition and our hunting heritage. Gun rights advocates, sportsmen's groups, conservatives, and state wildlife agencies were all united against this lead ban. Lead, as many of you know, is the standard in ammunition, and lead-free bullets are more expensive, leading opponents to accuse the Fish and Wildlife Service of trying to reduce hunting. Furthermore, opponents say scientific studies do not show large-scale harms from lead use in hunting and fishing. Zinke also signed an order Thursday asking agencies within his purview to find ways to increase access to outdoor recreation on the lands they oversee. In Zinke's words, "It worries me to think about hunting and fishing becoming activities for the land-owning elite. This package of orders will expand access for outdoors enthusiasts and also make sure the community's voice is heard." Mr. Zinke is getting off to a good start in advocating for hunters and anglers around the nation. Our next story from the Fresno Bee, we learn a California coyote hunter found the rules of predator and prey reversed last week when a big cat pounced on him and he was forced to shoot the cougar. The incident occurred last Friday near the northern shore of Mono Lake between Yosemite National Park and the Nevada border. The hunter, dressed in camo and lying on his belly, was blowing a call that mimicked a wounded rabbit in an effort to lure a hungry coyote. This, according to Lieutenant Bill Daly of the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. The hunter spotted a flash of movement and looked over his shoulder just in time to see a mountain lion leap towards his head. The hunter threw up his hands to protect his face. The animal struck, bounded away, and the hunter fired twice, killing the cat. The entire ordeal played out in mere seconds. It happened extremely fast, Daly said. He didn't even have time to aim. It was 100% instinctual. The hunter, whose name has not been released, sustained a minor injury to his head and went to an area hospital for rabies shots. He notified wildlife officers that he killed a mountain lion, a species protected under state law. Following an investigation, officers determined he was justified in shooting the cougar given the suddenness of the attack and the fear for his life. He will not be charged. And If you're looking to win $1 million, stop scratching those lottery tickets. Come up with an idea to stop Asian carp. That's the word coming out of Michigan, according to the Outdoor Hub, the Associated Press, and other media sources who report the state is looking for any and all solutions to keep Asian carp out of the Great Lakes. The invasive species could do significant damage to Michigan's tourism economy, which is greatly focused on the outdoors. Not to mention, the Great Lakes region has a $7 billion fishing industry. The state has set aside $1 million to develop a global contest. It's called the Michigan Invasive Carp Challenge, and the Michigan Department of Natural Resources is welcoming all possible solutions. The campaign is expected to go live this summer, so put on those thinking caps and get ready to submit your ideas for what could be a big paycheck. And finally, the Iditarod, a 979-mile sled dog race known as the last great race on Earth, is going on right now. 71 male and female mushers and their dogs started off in Fairbanks on Monday and are expected to reach the finish line in Nome in the week ahead. The mushers started their race in 20 to 35 degree below zero temperatures and were seen off by a hearty crowd of well-wishers and spectators. So, who are the favorites to win this year? There are several names in the mix, to include Dallas Seavey, who has won 4 of the last 5 races, and Jeff King, who is also a 4-time champion. Another favorite, Allie Zirkle, a female musher who hopes to be the first female winner since Susan Butcher in 1990. Zirkle has had 5 straight top 5 finishes and will be a serious contender for the first place prize. Last year, that first place prize was worth $70,000 in cash and a $40,000 Ram truck. Next on America Outdoors Radio, got a question for you. If you were a fly angler and you could only have one fly to use for trout, what would it be? Well, I've got a suggestion for you. I'm standing here at the Central Oregon Sportsman Show with world-famous fly angler Jim Teeny, and I think he would suggest the Teeny Nymph. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I would. Actually, it's the only fly I've fished with now since 1971. It's been fun.
Tell our listeners the story about how you came up with this, for lack of a better word, very drab-looking fly.
Well, you know what? It is very drab, and you wouldn't pick it up in a sporting goods store if you were looking for a fly. But it was the night before I was going to go to East Lake, and I was tying flies and came up and I showed my dad. I says, "What do you think of these?" He goes, "They're pretty," but he says, "Why don't you make something ugly?" He says, "I don't think those would catch fish." So I ran back downstairs and laid out all my material, and the ringneck pheasant tail feather was the ugliest thing I had, so I tied it up, and from my first cast back in May of 1962, it's been working and still works.
As a matter of fact, what did you land on that first cast with that fly?
Well, you know, I saw this beautiful male rainbow cruising all alone. He was probably 5 to 6 pounds is what I guessed. And so I cast out ahead of him, let the fly sink a little. And when he got close enough, I started retrieving it back, slowly. He came right over instantly and picked it up. And I got so excited, though, I held on to my reel handle and I broke him off.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I said, I got him. And I was a junior in high school, and at that time it was the biggest rainbow I had hooked. But later, I mean, we just racked him up. And then we went to Diamond Lake from East Lake, and it's an easy tie. If a person's a fly tyer, it's not a complex or time-consuming pattern.
So the Teeny Nymph has gone on to catch literally dozens of world record fish since then, hasn't it?
Yeah, we're officially in IGFA. We've held like 30 world records, but we personally know of at least 60 more that have been caught and released that weren't entered. So it works.
That is amazing. And that's just one of the many flies that you have tied over the years. But again, folks, the Teeny Nymph. It ain't pretty, but it works. So that's the one fly you need to consider. Let's talk about something else here, Jim. We got a couple minutes. What are some of your favorite places to fish on the fly? I know you've been all over the world, literally.
Well, I went up on my once-in-a-lifetime trip back in 1975 to Alaska. That didn't work out because I've been every year since, up to 5 times in a season. And I love Alaska, but I grew up fishing Oregon and Washington and had some of my greatest trips. But we went to Russia. We were the first group over there in '93 in Kamchatka. I've been down to Argentina and Chile. My favorite fish of all time for me is tarpon fishing at night in the Florida Keys.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing. It's beyond whatever you can think excitement could be.
Well, there you go, folks. There's a great bucket list idea for you in terms of a fly fishing adventure. And again, you now know the one fly you need to take with you. It's the Teeny Nymph. Jim, let's go ahead and give out a website so folks can find out more about what you do and the flies you're tying.
Sure. It's jimteeny.com.
Again, the website is jimteeny.com. That's jimteeny, TEENY.com. Jim, thanks for telling us about this here at the Central Oregon Sportsman Show on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you very much.
We hope you enjoyed this week's broadcast. We really had a good time chatting with our guests this week. They really were great. If you get a chance, go to our website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. If you log on there in a couple days, you'll be able to catch all of this show just in case you missed part of it, and you'll get a preview of what's coming up in the week ahead. You can also hear us on the internet at WRVO Radio, the website there, RenoViolaOutdoors.com. WRVO Radio is an internet station dedicated to outdoors programming every day of the week. That website again, RenoViolaOutdoors.com, and don't forget to check our Facebook page too at America Outdoors Radio. March is here, and that means we are transitioning from ice fishing to open water fishing in many parts of our country. It's a great excuse to get out there and maybe feel some long-awaited sunshine on your face again. I hope you're blessed in the week ahead, and I also hope you get a chance to get out there and enjoy some of the great opportunities that are waiting for you. Remember, it's your country and your outdoors.